right, so let's get started with Daryl. Give us a little intro. What's your name, where you're from, what you do, and then if you want to drop your contact info for people to get a hold of you.
Cool. Name's Daryl Wazinski. From Detroit, Michigan. Grew up there. I have a team of about 300 around the United States. And then I do real estate with my fiance out in California, Orange County. And she's really successful. She doesn't spend any money on advertising. I obviously own the real estate brokerage, and I'm just here to learn to see what you guys do with multifamilies and developments. I have in my possession about 15 properties I own in flipping, all in flip transition. So they're all anywhere from acquisition to finish. So I got about 15 properties in play at any time. And that's my story. I'm just a humble dude here to listen and learn, to be honest. That's all.
Man, thanks for joining us. Ahmed.
Well, good afternoon, guys. Know some of you I don't. My name is Ahmed Sarafi from Southern California. I am a multifamily investor developer out here in Southern California, and now moving hopefully into the Arizona market fairly soon. Gone the full circle from commercial real estate broker to commercial real estate contractor to now commercial real estate investor developer, and just here to add value and to learn about what everyone got's going on, and to just make some relationships and some contacts. But I appreciate it.
Sweet. Thanks for joining us, Eric.
Eric Kellen. I live over on the west side of Michigan, so I live in Grand Haven area. One additional property outside of our house that I just mentioned that we closed about 3 weeks ago. So just new from an investment standpoint, it's a single family home. And then during the day, my background's from a construction management standpoint. So I am the vice president and I lead our healthcare division that works in healthcare environments. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I got two little girls. One that is 2 years old and one that's 4 months old. So I was a little tardy because I was trying to get those two down. So
no problem. Glad you're able to make it. Derek Flowers.
Hi, my name is Derek Flowers. Based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm a broker of we have a boutique commercial shop, but also we deal with capital as well. Licensed in Illinois, and we're licensed in Texas. Like I said, we broker retail and multifamily, and want to just learn more, like Daryl was saying, to get more into the investing side as well.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Parker.
Hey guys, my name's Parker. I'm down in South Florida, Fort Myers, Naples area. I'm a GC. So right now I'm doing a handful of flips, condo flips for some investors, but trying to get myself more into the investment development side. In fact, I'm working with a developer now on some SIP homes. So when I kind of saw that language, it caught my eye to get in here. We just ordered our first SIP home, should arrive in about 2 months. So real interested to learn more about that.
Awesome, man. Cool. Patrick.
Hey, my name is Patrick Kovalevsky, from Long Island, New York, 23 years old, have a decent background in construction. Currently a real estate agent around here, looking to invest. Just it's pretty hot here, and just look forward learning. Probably the fresher guy, and just want to get into multifamily and commercial eventually.
Awesome, man. Thanks for joining us. Mario.
Hey everybody, Mario Pravity. I am the owner of Thrive Rehabilitation Physical Therapy. I own 7C Scuba, and I own The Marketer, which is a promotions, products, t-shirts company. And I'm looking to kind of open my own flight club as far as piloting goes, and do airport transport pilots for around the area. And I'm looking to get into real estate investing and figuring out how to build some more worth outside of those, and just a company, have some passive income, and pretty good with my hands. Remodeled my entire house. Tio has seen the work. So ripped it down to studs and redid that. And I kind of want to do that with single family homes and multi-family homes and just trying to get some information and learn.
Awesome, man. Cool. Glad you were able to join us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. Gregory.
Hi, my name is Gregory Stewart. I'm from Brampton, Ontario, Canada. I am just basically supporting Alvin. I happened to get in touch with him a few weeks ago, and I'm just learning more about what's going on in the business. Now, I'm from Canada, so I don't know if all that you gentlemen are discussing applies to me, seeing that I'm in Canada. But I thought I would come by to learn and see what if what you guys are doing would be of interest to me as well. So that's basically my story. My background is security and law enforcement. At this time, I'm unemployed due to an accident and had to go through the whole nine, waiting for the case to be settled and all that type of stuff. I'll be going back to work. But not right now. I'm not in a hurry, especially during this COVID. It's a lockdown in Canada, in Ontario, actually. So that's my background, and nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too, man. Glad you joined us.
Thank you.
John.
Good evening, John Marakis. I would consider myself a very amateur investor. I own a few single-family residential homes. Feel like I've done okay just for the little bit that I've been involved in it, and I'm looking to ramp that up. So really looking to learn as much as I can from the steal as much knowledge as I can out of the group here, and looking to get into, like I said, I own a few single families there in Royal Oak. So I'm pretty happy with the fact that I started there about 12 years ago, 10 and a half years ago when things were pretty bad. Wish I had done more at that time, but now I'm looking to leverage that into something else.
Awesome, man.
Well, my day job is because I heard some people mention that I manage a software sales team, so real estate has been my side gig. But I'm probably more excited about working on anything that I do in real estate than I do with my day job.
That's how I feel. I'm glad you joined us, and I have the same feelings about Royal Oak as you have. Let me share my screen real quick. I'll do an intro for myself. So my name is Tio. I'm a retired engineer. I do fix and flips, rentals, Airbnbs, own a property management company and a contracting company. We do all the fix and flips and rentals and all that stuff all in-house. And I'm looking to buy some more multifamily properties, and that's my number if you guys want to get a hold of me. And next we'll go to Nate. I don't know if he's able to talk.
Yep. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, yeah, I'm Nathan Ganane. Me and Tio own the property management company and a contracting company together. I also operate multifamily apartments as well and do fix and flips. So still looking for more multifamily and looking to grow that portfolio.
There's Nate's contact number if you guys want to get a hold of him. I made a little slide for Alvin. I don't know if you want me to keep that up or throw up your slides, Alvin. It's up to you. I can give you control, but
no, that's cool. I don't have no slides, man. No stinking slides. No, this is good, man. That's me. Multifamily investor. I've been in real estate 38 years, man. It sounds like a long time, and it is. But I feel like I'm just getting started. I've learned so much over the last couple of years. I've been in the multifamily space since 2009. I went to volunteer for a guy that has 16,000 apartments. And when I walked in his office, after a couple of days, I realized that that's where I needed to be and I was never going to leave. It was a 30-day assignment that he allowed me to come. And after 30 days, man, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm not leaving unless you send me home." And so that lasted about 13 months. And then he died in a car wreck and I became president of a $1.5 billion company to unwind it through a bankruptcy. And shortly thereafter, of course, I was fired because they don't need a president in a confirmed bankruptcy. And we started out to go buy our own deals. And here we are today. I think our portfolio, we sold a deal back in November for 11 million bucks that we paid $1.6 million for. So our value right now is probably closer to about 105 million instead of 105. But what I'm about to show you guys that we're working on right now for Princeton, Texas is gonna just blow your socks off. You're gonna not wanna go find any more old apartments to buy ever, ever, never. And you're gonna get all your money together and we're gonna do some real deals and y'all gonna go, shh, yeah. So
About
I am going to, I'm going to first open up a couple of pictures. And I don't think y'all can see my screen yet, but I am going to share screen.
should be able to, I think.
All right. That is a picture of a deal that we're about to go build in Princeton, Texas. And here is another rendering. 200 units, Class A property. Class A deal, 3 stories, garages.
You're not sharing anymore.
Oh, I'm not. Uh-oh. Share.
There we go.
3 stories, garages. And we're going to do this out of SIP panels, guys. So you want to know what is a SIP panel. So I'm going to minimize that. And I'm going to show you a little bit about a SIP panel.
How much property is that? Those 200 units gonna go on?
16.5 acres. It's zoned and platted for 400 units. We're paying 6.9 million for the dirt. So that is 69 divided by 400, 17,250 a door per unit for the dirt. And I want to come over here and I am going to open up this. So what I've done, guys, I'm gonna take this off of share for just a minute and I'll tell y'all a little bit about, you know, a lot of times we all get asked, man, how do I create value? How do I create value for somebody? So as you all know, finding multifamily deals has been extremely hard for the last couple of years. And I realized quickly, well, not quickly, but quickly enough that I didn't have enough money to compete. You know, you got guys dropping $500,000 earnest money day one, hard, no questions asked. They want the deal and I can't compete with that. So I figured I'd go out and develop and build 300 houses pretty quickly. And so that's what I started doing. I went out and bought 81 acres in Greenville, Texas, just north of McKinney, east of McKinney, north of, I guess, Allen. And we're in the process of finishing up 200 lots. And I got those all sold under contract to LGI, National Home Builder, within 30 days of the big Tonka trucks hitting the dirt. So we turned a $2.1 million investment into a $13 million swing, and it cost us $4.5 million to do that. So we 2.1 for the dirt, 4.5 to develop it, sold it off for 13 million.
Wow.
In the process of figuring out, so that let me know, oh, there is money in land development. So Daryl, yeah, your eyes are big, and that's what we're gonna do in Sugar Land, Texas, baby. But we're gonna buy the dirt from ourselves. But back to this 1.5 year long process of trying to figure out how to build 300 houses. I went out and found a process called SIP panels, and I found a company that's been doing this for 30 years. And the way I created value for them and for myself was I believed in this so much. And it took me 1.5 years to get in with these guys and to where I could walk through the plant and see what's been going on and how they build this stuff, because they are very, very protective of their IP. But I told them I'd bring them 1,000 units of housing. And for that, you guys are going to give me a plant in Texas, and we're going to manufacture those ourselves. And we're going to use labor from the parole board so we can stop the recidivism of people going back and forth to prison. We're going to give great jobs, and you're going to allow me to do that. And they thought it was a great idea. So I created a massive amount of value for them by bringing them 1,000 units of housing this year. And then they're going to give me my own plant, which it'll basically be franchise type agreement because they still own all the IP, but we get to control the manufacturing. And that's how we're going to go build 20,000 units in 5 years with all of you guys through strategic partnerships. So I'm going to share this process. And I don't mind sharing this company's brochure because I have a great relationship with them. So I don't care if anybody calls them. But if you guys want to work with them, the deal that they have given me is they're not charging us for any shipping costs for me or any of my friends anywhere in the continental United States, because they're going to count it towards our 1,000 units of housing. I don't make a penny on what they're doing. I'm bringing them value, and I'm bringing all of my friends value, and we're not paying shipping costs. So if somebody wants to go around it, great. Go be great, go be good, make it happen. But you'd be wasting it. I mean, it wouldn't be smart, but go be great. So this company is Extreme Panel. They've been doing this stuff for 30 years, literally 30 years. They are the first company to do this, to get HUD approval on their process. So a little bit about the SIPs, single to 5 stories. So this stuff goes up 5 stories. We can do it 4 stories on top of a podium. Nationwide application, 1 wall system for every US climate. Somebody asked me, what is the best way to describe this product? I would say it's a Yeti cooler with plywood on both sides. You can put a bag of ice in a Yeti cooler and come back 5 days later and you still got a bag of ice. During Snowmageddon here in Dallas last month or in February, one of the houses they did here, 6,000 square feet, the guy's power was out for 5 days. He lost 4 degrees of temperature in his house. And one more reference to the efficiency, the plant in Minnesota, where it is below zero 6 months out of the year, is 60,000 square feet with 25-foot ceilings. It costs them $8,700 a year to heat and cool this place at 65 degrees year round. So that's why I say a Yeti cooler with plywood. It meets or exceeds all US building codes. Miami-Dade County, LA County is seismic proof. It's hurricane proof up to 200-mile-an-hour winds here. Elimination of 3 liability-prone construction steps, no structural, air barrier, and insulation. It's all in one. This is the best airtight system made known to man right now. Environmentally friendly, it qualifies for all green credits, energy efficient products. It's Energy Star, where it's actually LEED certified, so it's greater than Energy Star. And the superior air quality is second to none. This stuff is treated for mold, antifungus, all wood insect destroying pests with no red label chemicals. What does that mean? Right now, a lot of builders are using spray foam insulation in their houses because it's supposedly pretty good. And that stuff is killing people, just like Roundup is. So, you know, they're having gases come off of this stuff, and it's not a good look for anybody. This does not have any of those factors. Real simple process, man. Y'all probably saw my Facebook where we built a house in 2 days. The panels come out in 8 foot by however tall your walls are, 12 foot, 10 foot, 24 foot, 8 foot wide, however tall you need them. And they are set with either a forklift or a small crane, depending on how high you're going up. The deal we did was 2 stories. We were able to use a big forklift. Those things, you could literally, 2 guys can pick it up and walk a mile with it. It's not heavy. It's literally styrofoam surrounded by plywood. I'll show you why it gets the structural integrity that it gets, but it's more friendly, energy efficient than traditional stick built, and yada, yada, yada. This is how it goes together, like a Lego cooler, like a Lego building block set. Panel number, if you can count to 9, you can build it. You've got bottom plate number 1 connected to bottom plate number 2, connected to bottom plate number 3, all the way around. Then there's another bottom plate. There's a top bottom plate put over the initial bottom plate that's screwed in. Every piece of wood on this thing, if it touches another piece of wood, it is glued together so no air gets between it. If it touches the foundation is glued and has insulation under the bottom plate so no air can come there. I'll back up a little bit and go to the foundation. No part of the foundation touches the concrete. So you wake up in the morning and it's freaking 35 below zero. You touch the ground in your house with tile floors and it feels like it's 70 degrees because it is, because no part of the foundation touches the earth. It's all insulated under the slab. Nobody else is doing that. The slab transference of energy is one of the largest, other than the windows, that we have, especially in high frost climate areas, Michigan, Minnesota, where the frost line is 4 feet deep. You don't have that issue with this building system. There are other SIP panel plants out there. This one is the only one that has HUD process approval, and they're the only ones that are insulating the foundations. Now I'm giving all this stuff away and somebody from one of these other companies is gonna go try to do it. Do it, go be great. Let's just go build some great houses. But literally, this is how this stuff goes together, man. The roof panels are 24 foot by 16 feet. We literally put half the roof on the house with one lift and drive the house in. And I mean, phenomenal, phenomenal. Let me go to the next slide. I want to show you kind of how this stuff. All right. So you see these offsets here? These offsets are where that foam sits on top of the bottom plate. So it's airtight and it's glued between there. But the lips of this OSB go over the side of the bottom plate. And then you got screws that go along the bottom. When you're stick building a house, you got a 3-inch nail that's shot in at an angle. You might have half that nail hit the wood. The other half is in la-la land. This stuff is glued and screwed every 6 inches across the bottom. On the sides where these panels meet, they use 8-inch screws to go between each blocking. And again, 200-mile-an-hour wind ratings. This stuff doesn't get any better than that. So design flexibility, man, this stuff. Oh, a couple of the things that I love about this. Typically, you build 1,000 square foot house. You need 2.5 tons of AC. This particular operating system we have, because the roofs go on in one piece, we have, excuse me, vaulted ceilings in every top level room. We have no duct work. So we have duct mini split systems, dual compressor mini split systems with heads in every room, where you can have 90 degrees in one room, 55 degrees in the room next to it, because each room has a thermostat. And because these things are, every wall in the house is a SIP wall except your wet walls, you have no air transference from room to room. And you can put your good front door on that bedroom, and you got a sauna in one and an ice box in the next one. This shit is absolutely amazing. You ever looked at a roof on a brand new house and you could see every piece of decking? This doesn't happen with this because you don't have decking like that. So you got 3 years down the road, man, this big $1 million house, and you can see every piece of plywood. This stuff is straighter than an arrow. You don't have sideways walls on your drywall. You don't have it on your stucco, and it finishes out any way you want to finish it. Let's see, what else is environmentally durable, all that junk, yada, yada, yada. And this is how it goes together. Literally, that they could pick that up themselves, but they're sitting there, it might be up on the second level, whatever. But that thing just goes down on there, man, and there's glue between every one of these deals. Every piece of everything is glued together so that there's no way that air will penetrate this building. And nothing gets out either. So if you're smoking weed on the inside, guess what they're going to smell? On the inside, not on the outside. If you got COVID on the inside, guess what? You're going to keep it, but your neighbors in a multifamily apartment don't have to worry about catching it from you because it's all contained. And you can use this again for, commercial structures up to 5 stories. There's some tax credits in every state that go along with this stuff, and cash tax credits of about $2,000 to $2,500 a unit. So that's not a lot of money, but it'll help float your carrying costs. And so, I mean, you can do anything with it. I'm designing a 12,000 square foot house that I'm gonna live in down here in Cedar Hill with it. My construction costs right around $90 a foot, Class A finishes, 24-foot ceilings. This it's gonna be absolutely amazing. But our apartments, everybody wants to talk about the apartments. Let me pull up one of my underwriting models and let's just run through some numbers.
Hey, Alvin, while you're pulling up your numbers, I got a quick question for you.
Shoot.
So you said this is the only panelized system that has HUD financing, meaning if I was to go out and get a construction loan through HUD, which has the best construction loan rates, really,
Yeah.
this is the only panel system I can use to get a HUD loan.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, I don't recommend that for two reasons. The first reason is it takes you 8 to 10 months, maybe a year to even get a loan done with HUD.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second reason I don't recommend that is because HUD will fund 85% of all your construction costs.
Mm-hmm.
And so on that, but you're locked into a long-term loan. So there's no way to pull any cash out of this deal. And what I'm about to show you here is why we use private money on the front or, you know, a bridge to HUD, because on year 3, we're going to refinance this thing and we're going to pull out about $9.5 million in year 3. And then in year 7, we're going to pull out another 12 million.
Alvin.
Yo.
So let's say I'm new to all this, right?
Yeah.
So let's say I take 200 acres, which you know about. I take 200 acres and that costs $3 million.
Yep.
Right. And we buy, and I buy, let's say I buy the land. I buy the land, however I buy it, on land contract, whatever. I get the land, I get acquisition.
Yep.
Where's the rest of the money come to get this going?
You buy the land, and what we'll do, Darryl, is we'll go out and we will borrow enough money to develop a part of that land in the single family houses, some of it in the retail, whatever you want to do, highest and best use for the dirt. And then we will develop Sugar Land is one of the hottest markets in the country. And so getting a development loan to push that dirt and develop this is not a problem. So then what we do, we've got a loan there, we'll build in payments into the loan. So we borrow enough money where we're not worrying about making any payments on it. And as soon as that stuff is ready, dirt ready, shovel ready, ready to go, it could take us a year to do that. Then we start divvying off the land to some developers and do you want to be the developer? Since you own the land, go build some houses. You want to do some retail, you own the dirt, let's just go build some buildings. That simple, Darryl. It really is. So this deal right here, my total cost is $36 million. And I'll go through that with you here. So we got 9 buildings, 8 acres on the first 200 units. The way I've got I've got no rent growth in year 1 and year 2, and then year 3, we go up 3%. Physical vacancy year 1, 0, 100% vacant. And by the end of year 2, we are 90% occupied, 89% occupied, and I am forecasting 5% vacancy throughout. This market is at 98% right now, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. Economic vacancy, 3% across the board. What does that mean? That means that we may have some tenants that are late paying, that are not paying. So basically we add that economic vacancy onto our physical vacancy. So we got a total forecast of 8% vacancy here. Other income growth, 1% a year. I'll show you what that looks like. And then my dampening is just how we're gonna lease up, 100% vacant, 45%, and then been walking it out. My unit sizes, 651, 718, up to 1260 in the 3-bedroom. So I got average unit size of 799. My rents in this market, average rents of $1,400, $1,100 for a 1-bedroom, up to $1,800 for a 3-bedroom. You guys are probably pretty comfortable with that in your market. $161 per square on an average. My other income for SIPs, this is the magic right here, guys. This is the magic. So we're gonna put washers and dryers in every unit, and we're gonna charge 45 bucks for that. We got 60 garages, we're gonna charge 100 bucks for that. We're gonna do a valet trash service, we're charging 25 bucks for that. Maybe 10% of the people will pay late, so we got a late fee for that. App fees, initially it's 200, but on average, after it's leased up, it comes out to about $6.25 per unit, about $1,000 a month on average. Forfeited deposits, you know, that's really nothing. We don't even want to talk about that because hopefully we don't have any. But my utility costs, 200 units, we are charging $120 per month utility costs. This is an all bills paid community. That includes lights and water. And we're going to charge you 70 bucks for the internet because we're buying it at the street. It's going to cost us about 20 bucks per unit to supply that to the unit. So we got a big delta. Let me show you. My utility costs at $120 a unit is $288,000 annualized. Look at what my total payroll is for this property, $233,000 a year. That's half of it. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And then my utility costs are $180,000 a year, and that's super high. I went with traditional costs. So what does that mean? I've got $400,000 in labor and utilities that will be offset with my utilities and my internet alone. This property costs me nothing to operate from a labor or utility perspective. That's the magic. My utilities on this deal will not run us over 25 bucks a month, and we're charging 100 bucks extra. That's the juice. You will not see that in any other development because no other development can forecast what their utilities will be. The rest of it's in the juice, man. The rest of it's just in the numbers. I mean, general admin, we got 10-year warranties on all the mechanicals, so it don't cost us nothing to operate this property, with the exception of a little pest control, which this shit's treated for all wood destroying insects. So guess what? We're not gonna see a roach or an ant or a termite anywhere on this property. But you know, we got a little pest control built in. Great landscaping. We're running at a 38% expense ratio for a typical new product. That's about par for the course. I really believe we're going to be somewhere close to about 30%, but I don't want to forecast that because my numbers look too crazy and everybody would think I was nuts. But this is real numbers. So here's my land acquisition costs, total all in $7 million on the dirt, $24 million hard construction costs. That gives me about 110,000. Let's see, what's that? 24 million divided by 200, 120,000 a unit. Average unit size was what, 766? That's including Class A finishes with washers and dryers, every damn thing. I mean, that's like, just move in and bring your clothes. We've got hard cost contingencies in here. Everything is in here. Total acquisition, total project cost, 36 million. I've got a 75% LTV loan at 27 million. We're going to raise $9 million in equity. What I have done here is I have given 90% of the promote to the LPs. I make 10% until they get to a 15% IRR. That's the hurdle. And when we hit that hurdle, it splits to 50-50. Exit year 7, I forecast this at a 5 cap. McKinney's at a 4 cap right now, 53 million in value. Let's go to a 4 cap and see what it does. 66 million, and it only cost us 34 to build it. Oh my God. Let me go back there before anybody sees that. Man, y'all don't never want to go buy another ragged ass apartment complex. Why would you? Because we can build this shit all over the country. Same cost everywhere. The only difference is the dirt. And here's what my LPs get. This is what I get. So they get all the cash flow. In year 3, we refinance. So we accrue some of the pref in year 1. Year 2 and year 3, we pay out the pref. There's a $7 million distribution. We raise $9 million. 90% of the pref is, or 90% of the equity is paid out. Year 4, 5, and 6, I'm accruing about half of their pref because I'm doing a 9 pref. But guess what happens in year 7? Booyah, 12 million. And we split it because I have hit my 15% target. My investors wind up with a 21% IRR. There's a 2.5 multiplier on the money invested. Mic drop. That's it.
My Alvin, what happened? I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
What if we were to take this to the hood and or whatever they call them, neighborhood stabilization programs, and get grants? Does that help?
Well, it does, Daryl. Let me show you another scenario. I got a little bitty city in Laverne, Minnesota. They only need 50 units. Nobody would come to Laverne, Minnesota for 50 units except somebody like Alvin. And the reason I would do that is because the city has given me they gave me the land for $1. They gave me $175,000 in improvements. They gave me $227,000 in offsite development costs, parking lots and junk like that. And then they gave us grants and loan money in the tune of about 1.2 million bucks for a total project of $8 million bucks for 50 units. And so I'm getting a loan for 6.3 million. Let me show you how those numbers look. And this is any city in America would do this. So whenever y'all run out there and go get all these cities to do your deal, come back and talk to me. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put together some numbers that look like this. 45% because all the equity is free. Same input tab, 8.3 million total cost, 75% LTV. I'm getting a $6.2 million loan. I'll show you my input. So here are my hard costs on construction on 50 units. It's actually 54 units. It's 2 buildings with 27 units. We're going to use a building, in 2 units in every building as an office and a gym. So we're going to give a gym and a little community workspace for all the residents. So we're taking 4 units offline out of 50 units. But on this $8.3 million deal, man, 6.2 million of it is loan proceeds. The rest of the money came from the city. And when we go to refinance this deal, we pull out 3 million bucks.
Hey, Alvin, scroll back up real quick if you don't mind on the dashboard. So for the purchase price, your 200 units for 6 million, right? 6.9.
Yeah, it came out to 17.5 a door.
Are you building all 400 or are you just going to build 200?
We're doing 200 at a time. So we're going to do this first 200.
Yeah.
And then while we're into that first 200, I may do a D4 on that one. And why would I do a HUD 221 D4 on that one? I already own the dirt, or the partnership owns the dirt, right? And so if they're going to provide me 85% of costs, I can roll that dirt in as equity and need no money to close it. And then just walk it out and all the money comes in cash flow.
So you're putting it at 17,000 a year per door on the dirt then?
Yep.
Okay. And then since you're doing SIPs at 200 units, because I got a similar size project, what are you tracking your construction timeline to be? How many months are you thinking on 200 units?
14 to 16 max.
Okay.
Max.
I was gonna ask on since it's all utilities paid property, I think you had in there. Is
Yep.
that standard for that market, or like how do you
No,
how
it's
do you
not.
build that? Okay.
It's not. Nobody does that. We just want one check because we
Who's
need all the money.
who's managing all that? The property management company, like all the utilities and all that. Obviously the property management company or something.
Now say that again, Darryl.
Who? I mean, oh, these are apartment buildings. I'm thinking condos. Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah. So now we're gonna meter each of these separately electronically because if the next guy comes in and wants to do something, then they can. I don't know. We might not ever sell it, but just to be able to do that, to have separate meters is great. But when the tenant won't have a light bill, it'll all be in the partnership name.
So the intent is to sell these apartment buildings in 7 years or whatever. The intent is to get rid of them.
Well, no, the intent really would be just to, I believe we will be able to fast forward that timeline to about 4 or 5 years. Because I can show just blowing it out of the water, but lenders get a little, oh man, now you're being too aggressive on that. So if I forecast this thing out 7 years, but we hit those numbers in year 4 or 5, then the reason I did it in 7 is because when we refinance this in year 3, then we're going to have if we go with a long-term HUD loan at that point to get max LTV, we're going to have a pretty hefty prepayment penalty. And so the goal would be to negotiate that prepayment penalty 10%, 10%, 10% the first 3 years, and then drop it to maybe 4, 5% in year 3 or 4 after that, which puts us at year 7. So we can literally walk out of that deal with a smaller prepay, if any.
So let me ask you this, Alvin. I mean, obviously, a lot of people from Michigan and here in Tito, his brain's probably spinning. They're getting land in Michigan, right? There's land everywhere here. There's land in all these programs. What's the what? There's got to be some holdup. What is your largest holdup that you face right now? What's the biggest obstacle or objection you have to overcome right now?
Greenbacks. I need 200 million, but I only needed 5 to 10 million at a time.
You need 200 million cash readily available at any time.
I need 5 to 10 million available at a time. So like this deal here needs 9 million. Bam, fund that. Go to the next one. The next one may be, the dirt may not be so much, so we may only need 7 million. Bam, do that one. Another 5 million, another 7 million. And every 2 to 3 years, depending on how we structure these, that money comes back. And I fully expect, Darryl, to be able to pull out 100% of that equity when we refinance. I just don't want to forecast it that way.
Getting off the ground is the hard part. Like getting off the ground is the hard part. Once you get going in 4 or 5 years, the money.
4 or 5 years, we got 20,000 units on the ground for real. This deal in Princeton, I tied it up under contract on the 30th of last month. I've got about 6 offers for debt financing already, and I've got 2 chicks off a Clubhouse came to my office that work for Netflix and said they got the whole 10 million right now. Put the partnership together, and that really scared me because, like, damn, well, hold up. But and I said, well, may not want to take it all in from one partner because we got a lot of people that want to be a part of this. I need to include a lot of people in this. So that's pretty much how we're gonna put this one together. And then this one will roll into another one. I got that Laverne, Minnesota deal going on. We got a deal in Minneapolis that I'm going up there to look at on the week of the 21st, 22nd. So that's next week. I've got 21 acres in Cape Coral, Florida on 4 hard corners to go do. Those 4 corners are all zoned and already entitled for 1,000 units of housing between the 4 corners. So we could go up 4 stories on that shit, and that dirt's only 4.5 million. So yeah, Darryl, the snowball is starting to roll downhill now.
And I apologize if I'm not following, guys. Let's say you needed $1 million from the bank, right? And you need $1 million, typical 20-30% is $200,000-300,000. If you need $5 million to start the project, wouldn't there just be, if let's say 10 million, let's say you needed 10 million to start, that'd be 2 million down. Wouldn't the bank give the rest of the money for the difference between the 2 and the 10 million?
They give us the difference between probably 70 to 75% of that. Yeah.
So the downstroke is what you need to.
Yeah.
I
Just
got
the
it.
equity, just the equity piece, about 20 to 25%.
And that depends, and then when you're going to the, and I apologize, I know I sound dumb, but
No, you don't.
is the land and now you guys are evaluating the land at 17,000 a door. That does that play a part into the bank when the bank is looking at the plan?
It kind of does because that, that's a driver, right? So you're paying 17,000 a unit for the dirt. That means your land's got to, your rent's got to be up. My deal that we put together in Decatur, Alabama, we were paying 600,000 for 6 acres, 100,000 a door, right? 100,000 an acre, and we were putting 100 units there. So that's 10,000 a door. So we were able to get rents instead of having rents at $1,600 a piece per unit on a 1,400 average as Princeton is. We were able to get rents down to 1,100 because the construction cost is the same. The dirt's the only driver.
What
about-
have you seen for like from a dirt standpoint that like makes where obviously every market's different, but from what you've seen, what have like your dirt costs been per unit where these things have still made sense? Obviously, if you're in like a super high area, you can pay like whatever 20, 30 a door for dirt because you got the rents, but like for just like a average area where you're getting like your average $1,400-$1,500 a month, what would you say like you'd have to be at like per door cost for the dirt?
About 10,000.
10,000. Okay.
Yeah, that 10,000 allowed us to get 1,100 rents, and plus we were getting the same $100 per month in utility charges. And so based on that, that's in Alabama where the average area median income in a 5-mile radius was 53,000 a year, which allowed that tenant to be able to pay 20% of their income for rent.
Okay, that's sweet.
Where's proof of concept going to take place first? Where's that going to start? Is that in Greenville, Texas?
Princeton, just right next to McKinney.
Question.
So Darryl, you know where 380 is?
Yeah.
Ride 380 out of Frisco, you go across 75, and it's 8 miles from 75, maybe 12 miles from 75.
Okay.
I got a question.
Go ahead. Who's that?
It's Ahmed.
Hey, man.
So, like I said, I'm more traditional mindset, and the way you're thinking about your rents are turning the wheels. Like ever since I met you, Alvin, the last couple of months, my wheels have been turning. Now, going out and going from a traditional rent you the apartment and you pay your utilities, going to now an all-inclusive type model where everything's kind of included and bundled.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten any sort of feedback from either the market or professionals about how prospective tenants are going to take this, saying, hey, you're a little bit more expensive than competition, but everything else is included? Have you guys kind of like, investigated that yet with your potential renters?
We're actually not more expensive than anybody else. All the comps in the area are around the same dollar per square foot in cost. What we're providing them additionally is the ability to write one check or one credit card swipe without having to go out and source all their own utilities through the city of Princeton and wait on a freaking cable guy to come show up, and hopefully the water guy will be on time. And I got to go buy a washer and a dryer. We also built in a washer dryer buyback plan so that if you have a washer and dryer and it's 3 years old, we'll buy it because you're going to rent ours. So we're making this as seamless as possible. You got a garage where none of the comps have garages. We're going to charge you for it. But guess what? You're living in a high class deal, paying average rents that everybody else is paying, but we're going to give you the opportunity to have a garage, the opportunity to pay one bill per month, and have the best in housing.
So let's say the average utility bills and everything was like they're costing every tenant in the area about $200 a month.
Yep.
The competition is $1,400 a month, but you would be $1,600 a month, which puts you the same price, but they're writing one check, right? Because the competition would be 1,400 plus all the additionals, which would be 1,600-ish. But you're saying we'll do it all for you, and you just write us the 1,600.
Well, we're gonna charge you the same 1,400. So when you get your itemized bill every month,
Yeah.
it says rent 1,400, utilities 120, internet 70, trash 25, and here's your total. And so
Yeah.
you feel good about that versus saying, oh, it's all 1,625. No, it's 1,400
Yeah.
plus 120 plus 75 plus 20.
Gotcha. Nice.
I think he's banking on a lot of the convenience factor because so many people are too lazy to go out and do all these other things. And I think that's very smart in the sense that, I mean, look at the instant gratification that Amazon and all these large tech companies give us. Simple, write one check, be done with it.
Yeah.
You move right in and you're ready to rock and roll. So the day you move in, your internet works. You're right. You just bring your dish. It's like an Airbnb, ready to rock and roll, kind of.
And who's ever heard of having 50 degrees in one bedroom and right next door is 85 in the same
Well,
apartment?
my heating system doesn't work so well, so yeah.
Right. This is hands down best product ever.
Alvin, I just heads up. So I know that we talked about dirt and cost of dirt in California, right? I landed out here like I don't know, about 6 months ago. You know, they got these rules out here. Ahmed probably knows more about the rules than me, but they got this shit where you have to put solar panels on homes and it's mandatory and all that shit. Where would that go into affecting cost? I mean, obviously that would come off that would lower the profit margin, you know?
Well, not really, because it would add an additional cost on the front end. But we've got a utility cost factor in there that we will have zero utility costs if we had that. Only thing we'd be paying for is water and sewer, because this thing would be basically completely off of the grid from an electrical perspective. Because you're not using any.
Hey, Alvin.
Yes. Hey, Parker.
I'd love to connect with you further, maybe sometime offline. I've got about your place in Cape Coral. I'm working with a developer. We've got 320 unit townhome site in Cape Coral. Utilities are in the ground, development orders in place, and he's real interested in SIP panels. So we've been working with a Nova panel out of Miami about possibly building that out of SIP panels. So if you're looking at a larger project in the area, just would love to connect with you further on that.
We ought to do that, Parker, man. You'll love this one. I'll take you to the plant. You can see how this shit's made, and stuff's made. Excuse me, I forgot.
Alan, I'm gonna throw a big thing in here. So I have a friend who's a developer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't like any of my deals that I do. He thinks that I'm just crazy. So I was in Newport, and he said, well, what happens if the factory who's building the panels become backed up and they can't get the product out? Are they going to pay the debt service, or are they going to pay a cost if they can't get the product out fast enough? I mean, in reality, we're just looking at wood and insulation. It looks like, I'm not the expert, but what happens if there is a problem with this, like in materials, or we're short on materials? Obviously we don't want to start stick building with, SIP walls, and all that. What happens in a situation like that?
I don't think that'll happen, Darren. I'll tell you why I say that. Nobody's perfect, but right now what we're doing is we're working on orders for the rest of the year. Okay. So, and they have already bought, and their OSB is not, oh, let's run down to Home Depot and buy a truckload of OSB. This OSB is manufactured for this process. Most OSB chips are just laid and stacked and laid and stacked. This OSB is laid and turned different ways for structural integrity, and then it's treated, and then it is treated again for all the insects, and then it starts out at a 2 and 7 inch stack, and it's pressed, glued, baked down to 7/16. So their OSB is manufactured for them, and so that's why we're taking orders now for the rest of the year. So if somebody comes up in October and says, hey man, I need to get on your books, guess what? We know exactly when you're gonna need it. or you tell us when you're needed, we'll tell you, or they will tell us, not we, but the plant will tell us exactly when your deals will be manufactured, and you better be ready for them because they're coming.
What's the lead time to kind of follow, like piggyback on Daryl's question for, let's say you put in an order and the lead time to get that stuff in?
I don't want to answer that because it really depends on how much of what you're ordering. What they told me when I was looking at doing my 300 home neighborhood is they could send me 50 houses a week.
Okay.
So backup lead time, not many guys are doing 300 houses at one time. So what do you got? A couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe.
Okay.
60 days, 90 days, just depending. Before your groundwork was done, you could have SIP panels there if you plan efficiently.
Okay.
So Alvin, you say that community is in Greenville, the 300?
Well, the 300 lots is in Greenville. Yeah, we developed 200 of those lots, Derek.
Okay.
And we're finished. They'll be pouring concrete out there in 30 days. All the utilities are going in. And then, so we sold those finished lots at 50,000 a lot.
Okay.
And we sold the paper lots at 21.5 a lot. And I paid 5,500 a paper lot.
Okay. I'd like to see those. I actually live in Rockwall.
Yeah, you can come up the backside.
Yeah, I'm like 10 or 15 minutes from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if you go up 69, cross over 380, quarter mile on the right-hand side, that's where that neighborhood is.
Okay, cool.
Highway frontage off of 69.
As always, I got a million questions.
Come on, we got time.
Wouldn't it make sense, like wouldn't it make I mean I don't know what the collective group, I mean I don't know, I mean I understand there's a lot of people here and a lot of people might be doing their own thing and they might just be ordering SIP panels. It could the factory become overwhelmed if too many people went off and did their own projects on their own, and would it make sense to have more people working together, kind of like in a what do you call that, for your fund where you raise money, what do you call that, like what Grant Cardone does, syndication?
A consortium, a group.
Right. Wouldn't it make sense to do that and as a whole, but and maybe get one or two projects off the ground? That way the factory and proof of concept is proven, factory can keep up with the materials because nothing ever goes as planned, right? So
well, this isn't new, Darryl. They're building SIPs and apartments right now in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And the benefit, if you remember, I said 1,000 units for them this year. We're already sourcing dirt to build our plant in Texas. That's going to be three times the size of the one in Minnesota.
Got it.
So by December, January-ish, we should have, about 150,000 square foot plant somewhere around the DFW Metroplex that we will, it takes about 6 months to get the machines in. So we should have a building built first quarter and have machines on the ground, hopefully by the end of first quarter next year, so that the 5,000 units that we want to produce can be done all out of our plant here in Texas.
And I think you're saying to build that 200 units, that 3-story building, it was like 110, 120 a door to build. How does that impact, like, let's say you can only, like the city only wants to do like a 2-story, like a townhouse sort of setup, like a kind of row houses sort of deal. How does that impact the price? Is it still similar? Or is it kind of go up by a lot just because there's obviously more panels?
Foundation.
Yeah.
I don't know the breakdown of that, to be honest, right? My engineers at Extreme, and then they outsource all of their engineering. They do the plans. So if you sent me a set of building plans today for anything, mm-hmm. I would forward them those plans and they would send me back a panelized plan. And then they would send me a full engineering report that includes all of your HERS index for all of your utilities of what it's actually going to cost you to run that thing monthly or yearly based on your utility costs. And if it's fully designed by them, that's when they take into account the lighting, the LED lighting that we can run off of Cat 5 cable versus running 14.2 because really low voltage. So that's where you start to get your price decreases, right? And you're not buying AC for 500 square feet per ton, you're doing 1,000 square foot a ton. So when you start engineering all of those feats in is where you really get the economy of scale. If you just want to go out and buy some SIP panels and frame your house with this, that's great. And then you go put a whole bunch of air conditioning in there and you'll have freaking sweat falling off of the walls and because it's not engineered properly, right?
Yeah.
So most important when you have an airtight envelope, you've got to have ventilation. And so they engineer these for ventilation, not just blowing air conditioning, but how do you vent everything out of this thing to make it really be efficient? And so it's really an engineering feat. You know, I'm making it sound really, really simple because it is from our perspective, but from the engineering perspective is where all the meat and all the work's done.
Wouldn't this make
I have a
sense?
quick question.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. Hi, Alvin. My name is Tatiana Brooks. I am new to the investor world. I am actually an educator by trade, but I branched off and became an entrepreneur. So I have an educational consulting business and also a trucking business. And now I'm trying to get into the investment world, starting out with multifamily homes, not anything large like you all are talking about. You all have the really big dollars. I am just starting out. So what advice would you have for someone who is just starting out? Like, where should I start?
Well, for me, I would tell you that I would say that if you're going to start and if you're going to dream, why dream small? Why not say, hey, man, we're going to go build a 54 unit, 2 buildings, cost $8 million on my street in the hood, or we're going to go do 100 units because all of the people on this call right now with a great project, and this is not just inclusive of this room, but any room that you go into, if you can master the art of storytelling. If you notice, all I did was tell you a magnificent story about how good this stuff is and how good the numbers are. And I can get you to buy into that, but then I'm gonna prove it with numbers and data. But if I can tell you a good story, I can get you to give me your money to where you're gonna wanna come partner with me. And so if you can put together a story based on what you wanna do, you will find partners or investors that wanna partner with you. And then you can bring a great deal like that to any one of the guys in here that have done a deal like this before and say, hey, I got a great deal. We've raised the money. We need a sponsor. That sponsor is somebody that has done this before. And you may give up quite a bit on the first deal because I did. I gave up a lot. And as you notice on my numbers, I showed you where I'm giving up 90% of the profits to the investors until we hit a hurdle. And then that hurdle is like, oh, well, shit, we've been compensated, Alvin, you may as well make some money too. That's how you can get a deal done bigger than where you're thinking you are right now. Because if you're on this call right now, you have an educational background, you're not as small thinking as you think you are. You're not. I mean, just turn it up a little bit. And that's what I would advise you to do.
Piggyback on what Tianta said, and I was gonna go down this road with Tidor, is that I don't know where Tiana lives, but
Tatiana, Detroit.
Detroit. So yeah, so we're all from Detroit. It's not all of us, but I'm from Detroit too. So this would make sense to go get some land from the city, from the NSP programs, and
it absolutely
like,
would.
there's all kinds of those programs. That's where I was gonna go with this. Is like Tidor and why wouldn't we just go to cities like Warren, Detroit, cities that are trying to revitalize themselves. Highland
like we did with Laverne. That's right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I would love to connect further with you, Alvin, and you also, Daryl. I'm gonna hop off the call because I do have the babies in the back, but I do have the contact information in the chat, and I will be connecting with you all soon.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana.
I'm gonna stop chatting after that, but I think that Tidor, I think that's I would love to connect with you. I think because I have some friends down there at City Hall, down in the city in Detroit.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, if you go down there to the city of Detroit with a program like this, man, you're gonna make national headline news for what we're gonna
do. What's his name who owns Quicken Loans? Dan Gilbert is doing, but Dan Gilbert's just building stick buildings, right?
Yep.
So if you play this game in like Highland Park or up like down around Corktown in Southwest Detroit, where they're building things, there's so many. I mean, I don't want to take over the.
They're giving away land at that point.
Yeah, they're just giving shit away. They want people, and you know what? you know, I don't know what the whole gentrification and buying the blocks is like in Detroit. I don't know all that crazy stuff. But if you brought in a quality material, right, and you know, people are wanting nice, because a lot of these areas where they're developing, even in St. Louis and in Florida, a lot of these areas, there's a lot of rundown shit, right? And you got all this new stuff, so people want new stuff. So the cities are giving the land away. So I see value in this and getting the grants and getting the money, and you instantly walk in with equity that you can go to the bank and say, hey, I got equity, and you might only need maybe 1 or 2 million from an investor, which you could round it up with 2 or 3 people and be done. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, Daryl, based on that thought process, I had a call today with a guy that runs the athletes group. It's a group that they put together for all professional athletes. A lot of guys, there's about 1,000 guys in it. And all these guys, you know, they made a lot of money right out of college, no financial literacy whatsoever. And this group is educating them on what to do with their money. And when they saw this plan, and I went through this extensively, and they've been digging in for the last couple of weeks, that's exactly what everybody wants to do. They want to go home, go to the city will give the dirt, they'll give all of those grants, they'll set up a TIF, tax incremental financing district for you, and provide that upfront money for these deals, like that deal I showed you on Laverne, 8.3 million. They're gonna give us 2 million in equity, and in 4 or 5 years, we pull out 3 million in cash, and this thing is, and that's 50 units, and it's smoking.
Yeah, that
Man,
is crazy.
this company been doing this for 30 years, but let me tell you why we've never heard or seen this before. Well, you've heard of SIPs before, we all have. HUD has never approved an alternative product for agency financing before. This just happened in April of last year. This company was just bought by a guy by the name of P. Allen Smith. He's a world-renowned gardener, architect guy, and he bought this company in December of last year. He's a marketer extraordinaire. So the guys that ran this live in Plymouth, Minnesota. They've been there for their whole life, and they just want to sell a few panels. That's it. Nobody knew who they were, what they did. Hey, you want to build a house in Minnesota? They sell you some panels. And when I saw this stuff and I started turning up marketing for them, I said, man, this is the best thing since they sent a man to the moon. I'm going to bring you 1,000 units this year. And this is what you'll do for me and all of my friends. And that's why we are here today. That's it. And I'll tell you, this goes to a bigger picture than these SIP panels. I had to pivot. I told you I could not find a way to buy apartments. I could not compete with all the hedge funds and the Blackstones and all these people of the world and everybody on this call that wants to buy apartments. Can't compete. I had to go find a way to be different. And so I was going to go build some houses and come back into the game with some cash. At least that's what I thought I was going to do. And then a year and a half of finding out how can I build houses 300 houses in a year led me to this.
Can I ask one question? Why not build condos why not just build condos and sell them and make a shitload of money and not whole? I mean, I get it. There's 2 aspects to real estate. There's just traditional real estate, and then there's the whole apartment thing. And it makes larger returns, I would assume, on the apartment for holding it for 5-7 years. But couldn't this product be done the same for new construction?
Absolutely. But when you get into that, you get into custom work, and you don't want to be chopping these things up every time for a different floor plan. And right now we're giving the market what they want. The market as a whole needs brand new housing stock. Everybody again on this call is out here buying up the same old apartments and passing them around and putting lipstick on it and leaving the girdle off so you can put the girdle on. And then, you know, all these pigs getting passed around every 2 to 3, 5 years. There's not a big housing stock coming on the market like we're talking about doing. And secondarily, most of the lenders nowadays, they will take an apartment complex, and these guys are wanting rental neighborhoods for rent. They want you to go do 200, 300 houses as a rental community. And that finances all day, just like an apartment complex. So we're just gravitating to what the market is saying that everybody needs and wants. And if we can fill a need and solve a problem, we'll get paid for the problem that we solve. And this is a huge ass problem. And we're going to make a boatload of money because we're solving a huge problem.
Well, thanks.
So Alvin, if you're taking these SIP panels and going in somewhere into like the city, for instance, buying a plot of land, getting it for a good price, obviously I've seen SIP panels before, but would you utilize like a local GCs to run electrical, do all of that because they're simple enough, or is it something that the company wants to use their providers or their construction techniques? What are your thoughts on that, and how does that play into the building process and construction costs?
A couple of different ways to do that. So the company that the panel company has partnered with for the last 5 years, they're licensed all over the country. So they've licensed in every state, and basically they operate for us as a project management company. So they are not really being a GC, but they are. And so in areas where we have they can travel all over the country and do these for us literally globally. What we're going to do is we're going to use the labor that I talked about to build these, because that's just something that I'm talking about that needs to happen, and that labor force can be deployed all over the country as well. But when you come to your electrical, your plumbing, stuff like that, there's no reason why we can't use local subs, because they're not drilling through wood, they're just pulling wire. And if they are not adverse to doing that, then sure, why not? Why not spread the love around?
Well, that was my thought. Is I don't know, but I know a lot of what Detroit does in a general sense is more breaks for keeping it hometown. You know what I mean? Keeping it within the city, keeping it going, keeping the money flowing around. That's why I was wondering, and I didn't know. It seems pretty easy, you know, to put in an actual electrical box. You're drilling up, you're hole sawing it out, cutting the foam out, refilling it, and then putting it up into the joists. So, okay.
And because all of these channels are already burned into the insulation, you're literally just feeding wire. One of the things that they told me about when they got into a labor union situation where you got to use union labor in some of these states or cities, right? They pull the wire in the plant and then you just plug it in when it gets there. So there's all kind of ways to trim costs and save money so that, hey, we can just pull the wire, and every time you put a panel together, man, you plug it in, stick it inside that panel. It costs a little bit more money for each plug, but guess what you're not paying? You're not paying Davis-Bacon wages on all this junk.
Okay, so their SIP panels aren't on-site filled. They're actually already pre-planned, already pre-burned in, and you've got 1, 2, okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you have any issues from a municipality standpoint, for inspection standpoint, to see rough ends?
No.
So if we're talking, you're pulling cable and everything through a panel that you're not going to see, I mean, how do you do inspections? How does that?
Well, you would think that if you're running a cable through that panel, that it's a dedicated home run, right?
Yep.
That's the way they're taking it.
Okay.
And you know, it comes out every box and it goes back into that box and feeds out to the next box, and that's how they're taking it. Okay. Now your wet walls have no SIP panels in them. Yep. You guys are used to this in your states where you don't have water in exterior walls. Correct. Here in Texas, they have been dumb enough to do that forever, which is why we had Snowmageddon and everybody's house flooded because the pipes froze. But so in every other state, you have no exterior walls with water. So your wet walls in your bathrooms and kitchens don't have SIP, so it's really easy for plumbers to do what they need to do.
Yeah, you're basically running. Yeah, for the most part. Okay. Are there already pre-engineered design layouts? I mean, you said if you can come up with what you have from an engineering standpoint or architectural standpoint, send it in and you guys will do the engineering. Are there like cookie cutter ones that are already ready to roll?
I have a cookie cutter building that they did for me for the deal in Laverne. So every deal that we do, we'll be able to reuse these plans because they're engineered one spec, one snow load. You know, they're engineering this stuff for Texas as they would for Michigan with a 5-foot snow load on the roof. Okay. So it doesn't matter. The building that they did for me for Alabama is a 27-unit building, 3 stories, 9 units per floor, washer dryers, elevator served, interior corridors. That's a cookie cutter model that we have, that 27-unit building can probably go on a 10,000 square foot lot in just about any city.
Okay.
100 by 100, building sit at the back. You got ground level parking, enough to cover 27 units with 1.5 parking spaces, 2 parking spaces per unit.
Yeah, and I guess if you did a single family home too, you could just use that over and over and over and over and over and over.
That's right.
Okay.
The economy of scale on single family is about 25 houses. And with that, you'd probably want about 4 different floor plans because every time they have to retool the plant and redo the, it just costs money. But if you're gonna do 25 houses, that's a good run rate. And you can probably have 25 houses if they're 4 different floor plans, you can probably have those in a week. Or if you're doing, a subdivision of 100 houses, you could have 4 floor plans and 8 different looks from 4 floor plans, right? So you got the garage on one side, the garage on the other side, and then you could have another floor plan that's a 2-story with the gable on this side or a peak on this side and a peak on the other side. So you got 4 different looks, and then you put different stones and different colors, and you can wind up with 25 different looks with 4 different floor plans. So real easy to make that work.
Hey, Alvin, I'm sure this stuff goes on foundations for basements. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. So doing this stuff up in Michigan and Minnesota, they got a 4.5-foot frost line. So yeah, they're using this stuff for basements. The only difference what they do on the basement, Daryl, this wood is treated for all that stuff in water, but they do weatherproof it, and then they're just backfilling the dirt, literally.
I
This is
think
all being ran with electrical heat. I assume then there's no gas heat. Is this all electrical?
We're doing all electric, but you can put gas in these units, just like anything else. If you wanted to run gas, you could. We're not running gas because that's just an extra expense. They do even though, well, I think it depends on the application in Minnesota, because they were telling me that they are putting some heating coils on some people's floors because some people want, even though the slab doesn't touch the ground, you guys are building most of the stuff they're building up there. They're building on basements or over basements.
Yeah.
So they're heating those floors, on the first floor just because. I mean, if you're gonna build $1 million house, you don't want cold floors.
Did I hear you correctly in the sense that you said that there would be a foundation for the basement and you'd still put up those against the concrete, or backfilling the dirt directly onto the OSB?
Backfilling the dirt directly onto the OSB.
So that would be the first layer underground would be backfilled directly up to it, and then the next layer above.
That's correct.
So you don't need concrete forms?
Huh?
That's what I was confused about. Yeah.
Say that again.
So
You don't need the concrete form. What he's saying is like actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still pouring the footings and all of that, and like normal. But your walls, right? Your walls, your basement walls, you're not having to use ICF. You're not having to use block and stone and concrete. They're tying those walls directly to your, and you guys build different up there anyway, because your frost line is different. Most of this stuff y'all are doing are, almost like a pier wall, and then they come back and do the foundation, 4 or 6 inches after the walls are poured. Is what I've seen a lot of, and so
there's no poured foundation wall. You just have footings, and that's your foundation wall.
That's it. That's what I'm understanding. I'm like, wow, I've never seen anything like that. And I'm sure that Mario led down the question. I was like, yeah.
No.
I mean, I've got 6-inch, 8-inch walls downstairs, straight concrete poured.
Yeah, you put walls. Yeah, and then you put a block on it if you want. If you want it higher, you put 2 layers of block, so you get 10 feet. And then
they're pouring forms and concrete footings, but the walls that you got downstairs are SIP walls.
Wow, that's different. That saves some money.
That saves a lot.
Yeah.
And they come pre-waterproofed. So they've got waterproofing on them.
Yeah, they're waterproofing them. Even though the OSB is treated, they're waterproofing it. I saw some black stuff on there. It looked like tar, but he said it wasn't tar. It was a special deal that they're using.
It was great stuff.
Oh, okay. So you know what I'm talking about? I don't know.
No. Great stuff is the Billy Mays stuff that goes on the outside. It's never mind. It was just a joke.
Okay, well,
Wow,
you know, I don't, I'm like, man, we live in Texas. I don't know what y'all doing up there.
Yeah, we
But I've
could
seen it.
we
Yeah,
could build walkout basements all day long in Michigan, man. That'd be crazy.
Well, one of the biggest problems, especially like developing in, if there was a plot of land or a tear down in our area in Claus and Troy, Royal Oak, there's a huge flood problem, backup sewage problem that continually happens because we have an underserved sewage system that drains into the same thing for Oakland County. And even in my area, it happens all the time. So that's why I was interested to see how they did the foundation instead of, you know, doing a fully poured basement. They're doing the SIP walls under the ground, which is that would be interesting to see around here as far as the constant flooding and treatment of things that happen.
I would agree with you, Mario. I did a couple flips in Ferndale, so I'm from the area. So yeah.
Yeah, so I live in Clawson. So
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. That's for sure. I didn't know that you could build walls with wood in for basements, and the city would be okay with that. This is all new.
it's got to be something with the foam probably, but that's super cool. That's a huge savings if the ability's there.
The labor
Well,
cost on getting walls and a concrete pump truck and all that bullshit out there to pour foundation walls is expensive, you know?
yep. The first house I saw them building was a 3-story, 7,000 square foot house in Minnesota. And when I went there, all the base, you know, it was weird because I saw concrete footings around the house, gravel on the floor, on the bottom, and they were standing their walls up, SIP walls that had been waterproof. And he said, oh yeah, we backfilled this. I'm like, but where's the concrete for the floor? Oh, we come back and do that later because, you know, it's just a small floor. It's just 6 inches of concrete. All the weight is on the perimeter walls of the house, right? And then they're using, I love the way they do the 2nd and 3rd and 4th story floor joists. So they hang those joists from the top. So imagine your first floor or your basement walls. When you get to the top of your basement walls, they're literally hanging the floor joists from that top plate and nailing them on top and then nailing them down the walls because you got solid plywood walls, right? And then they're just hanging truss in those deals. So you've got no way for air to get between any of that. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, and if you're running Cat 5 lighting, you got a lot more mobility for wiring. So that's
right.
That's very interesting.
Yep.
Awesome. Wow. That was very informative. Thank you, Alvin. I know everyone's gears turning here in Michigan. I know for sure.
I know. I'm like, Tio, what are we doing next Friday?
Yeah. So like me and Mario and a few other friends, every Friday we get together. We call them money talks.
Money Friday.
Money talks.
And we just get, go out, grab some food, hang out, and just talk about business, talk about all that stuff. So it's this is going to be one of our topics this coming Friday.
And anybody in Michigan, come on, have some food with us on Friday.
And then when y'all all get together, just figure out how we can work on this $10 million stack per deal, and let's go be great. Let's go build a bunch of apartments.
Alvin, where at specifically in Texas are you?
Dallas.
Okay, I have my best friend works at Pink Dawson, the architectural firm, civil engineering down there. That's why I didn't know who you utilized for all of that, for developing and laying out like all of your planning.
Well, what I'm doing down here now is, again, those guys do all of my engineering on all of our plans. So this deal in Princeton, it came with already city approved plans. I mean, they had already moisture conditioned the pads and everything, but they were plans for stick built. So yep. I sent my plans to them, and what they will do is they go through those plans and they will maximize the efficiency. Don told me yesterday, he said, man, these things look pretty good. There are a couple of little tweaks I want to make. Nothing that's going to throw the city for a loop with us going in and changing it. But when I get the plans back, they will be signed, sealed, stamped by the city, and MEPs in place. They do all of that. They pull all the permits. They do everything.
Awesome.
I don't have to worry.
Well, on any future deals, if you ever need someone for like land development, all of that, like the actual zoning and planning, let me know.
Okay.
I'll give you over a contact that I know from down there.
Okay, great. That's, man, this is why I did this. I wanted to create new relationships. I wanted to expose a lot more people to this opportunity. I want to grow this business for these guys. I don't have a pot to do anything with when it comes to these panels. I get no benefit, but the biggest benefit I get is I get a quality housing product. I get zero shipping costs for me and all of our friends. And then when we get our plant in Texas, we're going to have the same pricing model, but guess what? We're going to give hundreds of jobs to people that would never have a job like this. And this shit it checks every box known to man.
So I know you said they've been around for about 30 years and kind of producing everything. Have you seen equal or lesser or above housing or market values for those homes that have been produced in the past with SIP panels? What is your history with that?
15 to 20% bump on the appraisals.
Okay.
And let me tell you why. Your insurance costs are going to be less because this thing is pretty much fire resistant, not proof, but because there's no oxygen going to get in here to feed the fire, then it is fire resistant. 200-mile-an-hour winds is not going to blow over with your normal hurricane. And then the long-term ownership, man, is just so much cheaper, not only because of those two things, but your electricity cost is less. So that allows a homeowner to pay a little bit more for it. And so you can just literally get more dollars for you can get more dollars for S550 than you can for a C250.
How much value added do you think that company would feel if they could, instead of saying fire, retardant or resistant, more actual fireproof?
I don't know that you could get away with that.
Well, so the reason I ask is I actually have a buddy who holds the patent for basically it's exactly fireproof. People used to spray their homes in it, and he actually had medical problems and fell off for a little bit. But he holds that patent to spray on non-toxic, and a lot of people use it in construction up here. But it's called No Flame, and it's fully fireproof. So that was actually his gimmick, was he would dip half of his business card in the substance, light it on fire, and do it. But you can literally fireproof quite anything. So they would spray it in construction in the walls of homes so they could not catch fire. So, but that goes along with your non-red products. So he actually had everything tested, and they have all the patents for it. So maybe you'll pass his information too to give to your people.
I was finna say that I can't answer that question, but if
correct, they can.
Yeah, they can. They sure could. Man, I'm just a storyteller.
I know, and you're great at it. We're all captivated. So I like to learn and listen and see what I can gain from other people and how I can help.
But I know that Don could, if he doesn't already know about that product or something similar to that, I'm sure he could get some insight and tell us how it could be a big value add.
Yeah, fair enough.
Send that to me too. So I do a lot of work in hospitals as well. And we deal a lot in the fire life safety code and applicability. So if there's a product out there, I know from a healthcare standpoint, it's got to go through a hell of a process to get certified.
He's had this since early 80s. It's just one of the reasons why he hasn't had much success in the matter of getting it out there was, number one, he's not a marketer himself. And number two, a lot of places go for the bare minimum, right? They, like you see all the big mattress companies, they're fire retardant. So, okay, cool. It'll stop it for the first 5 minutes and then it'll burn after that. Nobody cares, right? It passes safety inspection. So that's what the difference is it stops it completely.
It's kind of like stick building, isn't it? Hey, let's got a roof on it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I'd gladly either bring you out some because you're in Michigan, right? You're in Holland.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's a quick flight for me away from Clawson to you, so it's about 45 minutes. So.
Yeah, and we come to that area quite often. My wife's family lives in Novi, so.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Boom.
I'll grab your contact information and shoot you a text or an email.
All right, man.
I'll throw you guys in the group text if not. So if you guys,
I was gonna say, Tel, do you mind, man? We all had to put our email addresses in here.
yeah,
Do you mind sharing that email list with all of us? Because as soon as I hit leave on this thing, I am running out of here.
yeah, yeah. No, I'll share the registration thing with everyone, so everyone has everyone's contact info. And I took a picture of the chat here.
The chat.
Not that I'll send out some meeting minutes, and I'll send out this video too, to all you guys. So
Thanks for putting this together, man. And Alvin, this was kind of insightful.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's awesome.
Thank you guys for
Oh
joining.
man, I appreciate the opportunity. I was like, I Excel yesterday. I said, hold on, man, did I sign up for some shit for 2 hours long at 6 o'clock in the evening? You mean?
Yeah, we usually run pretty long.
He said, oh man, we just gonna hang out for a minute and then just shoot the shit. Okay.
Well,
Thanks.
cool. We'll wrap it up here just because it is getting a little late. We're about to hit the 2-hour mark. So I know a lot of you guys probably still got to get dinner and, do some other stuff today. So I appreciate everyone. Alvin, thank you so much for,
Hey, man, my pleasure.
coming out and sharing this awesome information with us that's got everyone excited. And I'll send an email with everyone's contact info in the video. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and hit me up. My contact info is in there. Share it at any time. Be glad to help with anything. So I don't know what the best contact for Alvin is. I put his IG on his slide over there. That's the best.
I had to put my email on there too. So it's alvin@alvinhopejohnson.com.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And my phone number 214-491-7411. 214-491-7411. My number's all over the place. So if you call me and I don't answer, please leave me a message or shoot me a text. I'll respond, but I can't get them all.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you everyone again. And we'll catch you guys either on Instagram, on IG, on some phone calls, or next month.
Clubhouse.
Or on Clubhouse.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a great weekend. Talk to
You
you
as well.
soon.
See ya.
Thank you.